It's the Friday News Roundup. We're talking about Governor Josh Shapiro running for re-election. A man died in police custody this week, and the city is cracking down on people selling restaurant reservations. What's up with that? It's Friday, January 9th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me this week at the Fiddler Club here in Center City is CityCast Philly executive producer Matt Katz. Hey, Matt.
What's up, Trenae? Happy New Year. Wait, too late to say Happy New Year?
No, I think you can still say it until February 1st.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just made that up. Okay. Big news, not surprising news. Governor's running for re-election.
We all knew this was happening, but he made it official this week with a pair of events in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and a video, a 3-minute video that he dropped online Thursday morning. And it opens with the I-95 collapse of 2023.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember, the highway that was supposed to be closed for months after the tanker fire and like that overpass area collapsed.
And the driver of the tanker died.
Who was situated underneath the highway, right? And they were expecting this was going to destabilize the region for months because they had to rebuild this section of the biggest interstate on the northeast of the country.
Which, let's be clear,
yes,
it was such a small
it was so
part.
Tiny. It was like a patch.
I remember driving over and I'm like, is this it?
Yeah, right. But yet the expectation was that it would still take months to rebuild because that's how long it takes to build stuff in this country these days. But Shapiro reopened it 12 days later, and his re-election announcement starts with that. He is basically saying this is either his biggest achievement or an example of his ability to, well, we can just listen to a little bit of the ad.
A truly stunning sight. Officials are saying it'll be months before the road can be rebuilt.
When disaster struck, others underestimated us, but I never did.
Reopen and ready for travelers just 12 days after a devastating collapse.
We cut through the red tape to get I-95 rebuilt in record time. We did it using materials from a Pennsylvania business and with the muscle and know-how of Pennsylvania union workers. But it wasn't just there. We've gotten shit done all across our Commonwealth to make a real difference in people's lives. Wait,
Matt, did the governor just curse in a campaign ad?
Fuck yeah, he did.
Is that unusual?
It sort of started in the Trump era, from what I can tell. Like, I first started hearing politicians, elected officials drop curses like at press conferences, sort of as if they were just speaking off the cuff. And then in the last election cycle, there were like a handful of candidates that cursed in campaign ads. But this might be the most prominent example of it. Here you have a guy who's a sitting governor. He's maybe planning to run for president, and he's basically opening his campaign ad with shit. And I guess
he's getting it done.
He's getting the shit done. And I guess it's intended to make him seem like, you know, just a regular guy who just curses like the rest of us.
What else stood out to you in the Shapiro campaign ad?
The bipartisan, very moderate Democratic talking points. He's definitely running as a centrist Democrat. He is modeling himself as a potential presidential candidate, as a centrist Democrat. This is not Mayor Mamdani in New York, right? He doesn't want you to mistake him for Mamdani.
A socialist.
Exactly.
Right.
In this ad, he talks about repealing the ban on hunting on Sundays in Pennsylvania, which is something hunters had long wanted. And that's certainly like a signal to the red parts of the state, right? And then there's a cop in the ad who talks about how Shapiro funded 2,000 more law enforcement officers. So don't mistake Shapiro for a defund the police guy. That's the message he's sending there. But you know what's not mentioned in the ad, which I thought was interesting? What big thing happened or barely happened in Pennsylvania that he was right in the middle of this year?
I'm going to say the budget impasse and the whole SEPTA funding issues.
Yeah. Even though he says in the ad that he got shit done with a, quote, divided state legislature, he was unable for many months to get a deal on the state budget. And the budget was so late that Philly schools had to spend millions in fees and interest to borrow money just to stay open. And he still wasn't able to get done what might affect more Philadelphians than any other issue. And that was a long-term permanent funding source for SEPTA. I mean, he certainly was able to get some Band-Aids in there, so we're okay for the time being, but he wasn't able to get a long-term solution. And certainly there's reasons for that. You have a Senate controlled by Republicans. You have the state House controlled by Democrats. But if your whole identity is centered around getting shit done, that is one glaring example, I think, of not getting shit done. And it just jumped out at me when watching the ad.
Okay, let's talk about the other side. So Shapiro will face probably Republican State Treasurer Stacy Garrity. She's a military veteran. She was a colonel in the Army Reserve. But the nomination looks like it's going to be hers because this week, State Senator Doug Mastriano, who lost to Shapiro back in 2022, announced this week that he's not running. And also the state GOP had already endorsed Garrity.
Yeah, so it looks like it's Garrity Shapiro. Right.
Garrity also has a campaign ad too.
Yep. Hers came out several months ago. It does, in the production value, looks a little...
very different. Clearly. Shapiro's wearing like a bomber jacket with the state emblem and like in the communities at the diners talking to folks.
Sure. It looks like he had a full production team and the whole thing. Yes.
Very different.
She describes herself in the ad as a strong supporter of Donald Trump. That's obviously helps her get the nomination, which she's likely has locked up anyway. Might be more of a problem in the general election. But she said she supports Trump and his policies on immigration. So we'll see how that all ages as she tries to get independent and Democratic voters to her side in the election. And she just needs some independents and some Democrats to support her. That's just the way that the state is situated. You know, it's so purple. It's so 50-50. So we'll see if she adjusts her message somewhat.
But let's talk about her ad again. You mentioned the production value. But I will say she points out a truth. And that truth is what we just talked about, that budget impasse.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely right.
Let's play the clip.
While Josh Shapiro has been spending his time running for president and fundraising in California and other liberal states, raising money from far-left megadonors like Bloomberg and Soros, critical problems in Pennsylvania have been ignored. Shapiro has even failed to get the state budget done on time.
In that ad, she talks about Shapiro running for president. And this is a message we're going to hear a lot about, that he's not really focused on Pennsylvania, that he's just using Pennsylvania as a launching pad to run for president in 2028. So this election is this year, 2026. And then if he were to be running for president, he would literally, get sworn in for a second term and then have to turn around and start a presidential election campaign the way our cycles work. So Shapiro's got a book coming out, which is, you always have to have a book coming out if you're running for president. He's been doing all these big national magazine profiles. He does national and TV interviews all the time. Mm-hmm. He was up in New York doing the Breakfast Club a few weeks ago. Remember that?
Yep.
So she's going to say that he is going to be distracted by that. That's going to be the contours of the race. And then the flip side, Shapiro's supporters are going to frame Garrity as a extreme MAGA Trump supporter. She did say back in 2020 that Trump really won the election, which he had in fact lost. She has since changed her tune on that and said Biden really did defeat Trump, but at one point she was an election denier. So we're going to hear a lot about that from Shapiro and Shapiro's people, I'm sure. And then in terms of other criticism that Garrity will have of Shapiro, we're probably going to hear about that top aide to Shapiro, who a couple of years ago was sued for sexual harassment. Mm-hmm. That came up in her ad. I'm sure that'll come up again. And then maybe we'll hear about the state tax dollars that were spent on security upgrades to Governor Shapiro's personal home in the wake of the assassination attempt. And this money was spent on his personal home, even though he already has a governor's mansion. So I think that might be something else that comes up in this election. Get ready for the TV ads, Trenae. They're coming.
I can't wait. It's gonna be exciting. Oh, trivia question. Has the United States ever had a Pennsylvania president? Have we?
A president from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Well, Joe Biden was born
Delaware.
in Scranton.
Yeah, but he reps Delaware.
He does rep Delaware.
He's Delaware.
Wow, that's a good question. I thought so. Hillary Clinton, well, she was not president, but she briefly lived in Pennsylvania.
But she's a New Yorker.
Totally. Are we going to Google it right now?
Yeah, Google it.
This is the kind of research we do here at CityCast Philly.
Yeah. Who?
James Buchanan,
What's he
1857 to 1861. While other presidents had connections to Pennsylvania, like Joe Biden, Buchanan is the only one officially from Pennsylvania. He was also a bachelor.
Okay.
You know, the last thing I'll just say about this is that it's Shapiro's race to lose. He has high approval ratings in the state, more than 50%. He apparently has $30 million in the bank to spend on this campaign. And then in addition to the campaign, he has a 21-person taxpayer-funded government communications team, which will be pushing out his accomplishments and his agenda on Instagram and everywhere else.
Oh, you mean like the content creators?
Yeah.
Okay.
That are working taxpayer-funded in the government for him. So that pushes him out there on Instagram and everywhere else. And that goes kind of in parallel with the campaign. And that's something Garrity doesn't have. So certainly he is the front runner at this point. But we'll be following the race, and we invite Governor Shapiro and Stacy Garrity to come on the show.
Yeah, let's chat. All right, we've got more news after the break. PA Preferred makes it easy to choose local and support the farmers who grow and make the food and products we rely on every day. And the variety is honestly incredible. Pennsylvania isn't just dairy and sweet corn. We're the #1 mushroom-producing state in the country. We've got apples, hops, honey, maple syrup, flowers, and even fibers from alpacas and sheep. If you want to find PA Preferred products near you, start at papreferred.com. You can search for farms, farmers markets, and local producers in your neighborhood. And with the 2026 Pennsylvania Farm Show coming up in January, it's the perfect time to explore everything our agriculture community has to offer. Choose local, choose PA Preferred. Visit papreferred.com. That's papreferred.com. Paid for with Pennsylvania tax dollars. All right, on Sunday night, a man died inside of a police car that was parked up in the Mayfair section of the city. There was a dispute between this man and a relative at a house party on the 4000 block of Hellerman Street. It's reported that the man actually fired his gun a few times into the ground after leaving this house or this house party. There were no reports of injuries due to the shots fired, but when police arrived, they arrested this man, put him in the back of their police car, and then later he was unresponsive. And that's according to a spokesperson. And the Enquirer reports that the details of this man's name and his age haven't been released yet.
Yeah, we don't know anything further. The man was apparently intoxicated. This is according to police, but we don't know anything more than that. And we don't know if there was any wrongdoing here on the part of the officers or if there was anything they could have done. But you know, when people are in the care or custody of the government, which is what happens when you're in the back of a police car, which is what happens when you're in a prison cell, we just hope officers are trained to make sure that the lives of the people in custody are prioritized as much as possible, regardless of the medical or other distress that they might be in.
We'll keep an eye out on any developments in that story as well. So make sure that you're subscribed to our newsletter.
That's right.
All right, we'll be back after this quick break. Matt, get this. I was scrolling on IG this week and I saw that Mon posted screenshots of people trying to sell like the really hard to get dinner reservations.
Because Mon is such a small place,
Yeah.
and it's, has all these accolades, so people are trying to get in.
Right. Now, we went as a team to the lunch because that was a little bit easier. But Mon reposted the screenshot in the IG story, and they said, ew, gross, it won't work. Don't play with us.
That's great.
I love it. And other people also commented on the original post and called the action horrible, while others responded, interested. How much?
Wow.
So technically, right now, you can sell a restaurant reservation. Yeah. Is it ethical?
It's a little sketchy.
Murky. It's murky.
Yes, for sure. But it's not going to be legal, it looks like, for very long. City Council last month unanimously passed a bill that bans third-party restaurant reservation services, that's what they call them, from basically selling other people's reservations that they may have made on like Resi or Open Table. They call them reservation scalpers. It's considered part of the reason why it's so hard to get a reservation at some of our award-winning restaurants like Mon. So this law, if it's signed into law by Mayor Parker, or after a certain amount of time, it could just automatically become law. It would require scalpers to get permission from restaurants before listing the reservation for sale. So it would really like clamp down on this practice. But in the meantime, Mon seems to be taking matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't do that. Get the hell out of here with that.
Because essentially people are going to be making money off of all of this.
Yeah, like, someone's making money who's not involved in the restaurant, who's not making your food, who doesn't have anything to do with it.
It doesn't help the staff. It doesn't help, the bottom line for the restaurant.
Would you buy a reservation?
No, but you know what does exist? Like, if you go to certain like fancier establishments, you have to put a deposit down.
Right, that's true.
That's it. That's an incentive so you don't.
Yeah, so then what do you do? So if it's 25,
the reservation.
I've thought about this. So it's like $25 a person, right? Something like that. Mm-hmm. And then what if you're sick?
I know.
I do feel like if you call the restaurant and be like, I can't make it, they just release the reservation, and if it's
and then you get the money back.
And you get the money back, and they fill the table probably.
Yeah.
I don't think I would buy a reservation.
Do you think that the current state of Philly restaurant reservations and all that is so out of control? Or do you think that this is like kind of like, this is just taking it too far?
No, there's some places that are like it's very hard to get a reservation. It took me like 6 months of trying to get a spot at Her Place Supper Club. And this was even before they won a Michelin star. So now it must be totally impossible. So some of these like small spots that are in row homes that are now nationally known, it can be really hard to get a reservation. And then you're like, I had a calendar alert, so I logged on at the right time. And then the folks from Her Place Supper Club just opened a new spot, Pine Street Grill. And I've been trying to get a reservation there, and there's just like nothing available weeks and weeks out, unless I wanted to go to dinner at like 10:30 at night, but I'm already in my PJs.
Right.
So yeah, no, it has gotten, it seems, harder for to get into some of these marquee places. Apparently Pine Street Grill is reserving like half of their tables for walk-ins. So the restaurants themselves are trying to adjust to the fact that they know getting a reservation is pretty hard. And
also to this, maybe streeteries can offer even more tables available, even though I don't really like to eat outside. I like to eat inside.
You like to be comfortable.
For a place like Fiorella, where the rigatoni with sausage ragu was so good and hearty.
Yeah, and we ate that outside.
Speaking of which, this weekend, I am going to be delving into the pasta book.
Nice.
This is the latest book from Philadelphia restaurateur Marc Vetri.
And why are you reading this book?
Because I'm going to learn how to make some pasta. And so are you if you are a CityCast Philly neighbor, because I'm having a chat with Marc. It's going to be a pasta demonstration. It's all happening on Tuesday, January 27th, right here at the Fiddler Club.
That's right. This is just for Fiddler Club members and CityCast Philly neighbors. If you are one of our neighbors, which is what we call our members, you have access to discounted tickets for this event. We're calling it CityCast Philly Presents an Evening with Marc Vetri, live podcast interview with Trenae, pasta making demonstration, book signing. So you'll get a copy of this book and Marc will sign it, and a tasting. So Marc is going to show us how to make pasta, and then we're going to be able to taste a little bit. There'll also be a bar. You get to meet the team. So anybody out there who's interested in becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor, you'll be able to get a discounted ticket to this event.
If you want to become a member, go to membership.citycast.fm.
That's right.
This is a 300-page book.
Beautiful, by the way.
It's so incredible. Look, it's filled with like over 75 recipes. One of the first pictures, can I show you guys?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's that rigatoni.
Wow.
Hearty, nice and hearty and fresh. Well, also in the book, there are the 10 commandments of pasta, which I love. Creative ways to make all types of pastas, flavor combinations. And then there's like this multimedia aspect of it where there's QR codes that you can scan so you can see the videos of the techniques.
Oh, nice. For people who are accustomed to cooking with TikTok open, they can get the book and then they can
the TikTok recipe, they go so fast. I'm like, wait,
do.
was that paprika or what? Like, I don't know what this was. So I'm going to be just reading this, curled up on the couch. I'm going to get some sticky notes and
you're going to make a couple of these on your home kitchen before the event. So then you can be like, Marc, I think you could use a little more tomato in that sauce.
Okay.
And Marc is he might
James Beard Award-winning chef.
In terms of like our chef royalty in this city, it does not get any higher than Marc Vetri. The opening blurb in the book I saw was from Bobby Flay, who calls Marc Vetri the best pasta chef in America. Is that right?
Yep.
So, get a chance to listen to him talk about the art of pasta at the Fiddler Club with you asking him questions. It sounds like a great Tuesday night. Well, other than reading the pasta book, what else are you doing this weekend?
Eagles.
We are playing the 49ers this weekend, 4:30 at the Link. This is the first round of the playoffs. Either our season continues or it ends on Sunday. So this is it.
This is it.
I got a new Devontae Smith jersey for Hanukkah.
Nice.
It's white. It's fire. It's awesome. So I got to wear that. But I am a little worried about the game. We had the backups playing last week. Team did not look great. There's a lot of concern.
Bigsby, is that his name?
Bigsby. We love Tank Bigsby.
Love that energy.
And love that football name, Tank Bigsby, for a big, strong running back. Love it. So hopefully this will be easy and we can move on and get to the Super Bowl in February again.
Yeah. Anyway, before we all go, enjoy the weekend. We got to shout out some CityCast Philly neighbors. I want to shout out Shane D, Charlie T, Nikki L. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome, welcome.
And you can join too. You can join Shane, Charlie, and Nikki by becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. And a part of the membership is I will shout out your favorite business as many times as you want. So Juliet is shouting out the Arts League, and this is why. Love their VHS club, where they show Sunday movies projected from VHS tapes. Protect physical media. Yeah. That sounds so cool, though.
That's awesome, Juliet. Yeah, I think we've definitely had events at the Arts League listed in our newsletter every week. So thanks for joining us here at CityCast Philly, Juliet.
All right, well, I'll see you next week, Matt.
Go Birds, Trenae.
Go Birds. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Our executive producer is Matt Katz. Our senior producer is Abby Fritz. Our producers are Elizabeth Kama and Noah Snyderman. Newsletter editors are Siani Colon and Natalia Aldana. And our host is me, Trenae Nuri. Music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from all the kimonos. If you enjoyed the show, well, really this week of episodes, tell a friend. Also rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Have a great weekend and be safe, y'all. Bye.